Welcome to Leveling Up with Lindsay, the podcast where we dive into leadership, small business, and everything in between. I'm Lindsay, your host and the proud owner of White Peony Boutique, a space created to empower women, build confidence, and foster meaningful connections. Whether you're an entrepreneur, a mom, a friend, or someone just looking for a little inspiration, this is your space to feel seen, supported, and inspired. Join me as we share stories, strategies, and a little bit of life's chaos while navigating what it truly means to level up in starting a business, relationship, and personal growth. So grab a cup of coffee, get comfy, and let's level up together. I'm so incredibly honored to welcome two women who inspire me with every word they write and every conversation they hold. Julie and Kendra from One Story Well Collective. Their devotionals are more than beautifully written pages. They are invitations to pause, to reflect, and to remember that your story matters. Whether they're writing about friendship, motherhood, kindness, or one powerful word a day, they speak right to your soul. I've been so lucky to cross paths with these women through White Peony Boutique. Our connection began in the most organic way, through shared values, meaningful conversations, and a mutual love for intentional living. I've had the absolute honor of being present for two of their devotional launches, and let me tell you, watching their heart and humility in action has been such a gift. What started as admiration turned into real friendship. And today, I'm just so proud to have them on the podcast to share their journey, their faith, and what's currently stirring in their hearts. Let's welcome Julie and Kendra, two of the incredible voices behind One Story Well Collective. Welcome, Kendra and Julie. Thank you for being here with me today.
Thank you for having us.
I am so excited to talk about this because if you haven't seen or purchased a devotional here at White Peony Boutique, please look in. We definitely carry them here at both locations. I'm excited to talk about this journey, but let's get started. And actually something I've chatted with each of you a little bit, but I want to know, where did this all begin? The very beginning, the why.
We have been doing friendship. So Kendra and Kristen are sisters. Mm-hmm. I'm the adopted sister.
You are.
And so we've been doing life together since our early 20s. But it was in 2011 that Kendra and I were at a conference, and Susie Larson was speaking, and I don't remember what she was talking about, but we looked at each other and we're like, maybe a book? We didn't have any ideas. We didn't have anything else. And so we talked about it, and we then kind of just let it marinate for a long time. And I prayed about it, and I was like, well, everything under the sun has been written. So if you want me to write something, I don't know. You're just going to have to tell me what it is because I have zero. I'm not going to worry about it. So fast forward a full year. We were at the same conference the next year, and our first idea for a book downloaded in like 30 minutes. We had the table of contents. We had everything together. And then Kristen is a journalist and an editor and an English master's.
Mm-hmm. I did not know
She has a master's in English. And so we were like, well, we would be silly to write without Kristen. Yeah. So know the professionals in your circles and lure them in.
So Kristen is the third to One Story Well Collective
as
your trio, which is so cool. So let me just tell you, when you said you came together in your 20s, minus obviously Kendra, you and your sister, in my 20s, I don't think I sat down with my friends and said, what kind of book are we going to write? So what triggered that? What moment were you going through in your life?
So when we met, we weren't writing books. When we met, we were just, 20-something young women doing life together. We had lived a lot of life in relationship with one another. So all the good stuff, the hard stuff. We've had some mileage under our belts as friends and just living in community with each other. I don't know why we decided.
I think we just, like a lot of women, I think we were both in different careers at the time. Yep. Julie was a practicing attorney and I was a social worker, and we loved what we were doing. Sometimes you just have a dream in your heart for something more, for something different. Not that even what you're in right now is bad. And I think that's what it was. It was just like, what is part of our purpose here? Where do we see ourselves wanting to be and aspire to be? And I think when you are that kind of a person, you draw other people in that have that same kind of drive. And I think that's what happened because it wasn't something that we were actively doing at that time.
It was not. And dream big sometimes.
Yes.
I mean, I'm so glad I didn't know all of the things I do now, because I think I would have told my younger self not to do it just because of the risks. It's really hard to write books, and it's a really hard industry to be in. And so I think actually I'm quite glad we did not know all the things we know now because we might not have tried it.
Yeah.
So I don't know, take a risk, dream a little big.
I always say everything kind of comes together, it happens for a reason. So one thing, when you said that, Kendra, it brought me back to kind of my why when I started the boutique. And this is actually very similar. I remember being in the middle of work, raising your babies, stress is high, marriage is a journey, different things in life happen. And I remember I would have a really awesome group of friends over, and we would have our ladies' night, and we would have too much wine and stay up too late, and our kids would all be in bed. And we have a really great neighborhood, and everyone's really nice and close, so it's very simple. But we would talk really late on like a Wednesday or Thursday night, and every one of us was like, well, that was stupid. But we couldn't stop talking because it was such an outlet. We connected so deeply in that moment. I've never told anybody this. Actually, I just thought of this. And anyone's listening, we loved it. So we craved that outlet for one another. We craved talking about topics that, I love my husband. I have the best guy friends in the whole wide world I go to for many, many things. So there's just something about being a mom, and like, there's something that you resonate with one another. And we just craved that feeling of being not alone, talking about these topics and uplifting each other. And I was like, this is too good. Like, this conversation here is too good. And I needed this in my life more than I knew. And what I haven't told anyone, I actually have a secret Facebook group out there. I wonder if I could even still get to it. That I'm like, you guys, we need more of this. I know there's moms out there that need more of this. And we were going to start our own group. We didn't know what it was, but maybe it was talking and I don't know, just us recording ourselves, which is so crazy that this is happening now. But anyways, it's because like one foot in front of the other, when you feel like you've got something so good, your story isn't the only story.
Right.
100%. Or the only person that needs to hear that or talk about it. So I think that's pretty cool. But like, at what point, looking back, where you're like, I think we should share a story. Like, what did that conversation truly look like amongst you three? So, you're like, oh, you did write that book pretty quickly. Yeah. But when you were like, no, I think this matters, or this story or this devotional matters. Yeah. What did that specific conversation, do you remember?
I think it came out of our Saturday morning Bible studies. So when we first started, we were doing a very small Bible study. So it was just us always. And as that developed, and it was good, really wonderful. I mean, there's so much growth and just being able to communicate with other women and talk about all of the things, right? And then at some point, we realized that it was so good that we really needed to blow it open and invite other people in. And so we started doing that. And we had littles. And Saturday mornings, I mean, our husbands would clear the kids out and we would have treats. And we had women over in our homes. And those were bigger gatherings. And we just continued to realize how desperately we needed community. Yeah. And not just us, but like everybody needs community and a place to come together and talk about real life.
Kind of like an outlet.
100%.
And you find in those times too how important and impactful people's stories are.
Yes.
Like my story, your story, no one's is more so than the other, but it's just like when we come together and we connect like that, when you have those moments where it's like, oh my goodness, I'm not the only one.
The vulnerability.
Yes. You just realize like this is one of the key parts of life that really matters.
Right.
That's what our devotionals are. It's an attempt to then blow those Saturday mornings even broader and open to everybody and invite people into a journey. It looks different, but that's really what it is sharing stories and saying, hey, you're not alone in whatever it is that you're processing through, and you're welcome to be part of a broader conversation.
That is so important. I one time was on a panel and we talked a little bit about why your story matters. And I think of myself growing up through all things. And I think we had Barbies when we were little. We had, the magazines were a huge thing. And to be that perfect body shape, the perfect, that was extreme measures. I'm so proud of where things are evolving.
Yes.
Where being more natural is better and healthier is better. And it's such a powerful change. But we had some things to go against when we were younger, right? So I think in the beginning, I always say in the beginning of my journey, it was perfectionist. I always say I'm a recovering perfectionist. And,
who would I ever be to tell my story or anything? But I think it started with connecting with friends, being able to tell your story or vent or release, emotions or whatever that looked like with your girlfriends, and then being like, it's okay, I'm here for you. Or to say, I've been there, I've actually felt that, I've done that. And you're like, oh, wow. I think that's where our late night wine talks wouldn't end, because it was like, oh my gosh, I just needed that. So it's the same thing with the devotionals and your entire mission as well. And then little by little, for me, I'm like one foot in front of the other when you start realizing that no one's story is perfect. And that's actually the beauty of it all. But then to have an outlet or to be there for one another is so important. Yeah. So little by little, the realization of like speaking the truth in your story. Yeah. To hide less and less from it and just move forward. And, I think is when you're like, okay, this is actually not touching someone, but someone's able to connect with it. So that's pretty awesome. So what did the early stages of you guys writing, sitting down, how did the operations, the business person in me is like, okay, how'd that look?
So we started blogging. So that was 2012 when we wrote our first book and started blogging, which was really big at the time. So we would get on weekly calls, around our kids' nap schedules and just kind of plan out what we were going to write. And then we started, when Google Drive came along, we started Google Docs, and in real time you can kind of see. So then we'd all be adding in our ideas and things like that. It helps to have more than one person, because I think the more you have, the more creativity comes and flows and the more ideas that come. So after we wrote our first book, we kept blogging pretty consistently. And I think only our moms were probably reading it at that time, but we just we didn't realize we were honing our skill. That's the other thing that 100%. I think people don't realize is they look and they go, oh, you've written all these books. We've been writing for so long. Sometimes you do have to practice a skill for quite a while. And it's okay to not be good at it at first too.
You just have to do it.
You just have to put in the time.
You do.
And so then it was 2015, we were like, well, we maybe want to write another book, but we don't know what. Let's start going to writers' conferences. And so Kristen and I went to one out on the East Coast.
Yes.
Lovely conference, met with people, had a proposal. Everybody's like, no, no, no. That's the other thing you have to get used to when you're chasing a dream, is hearing a lot of no's.
Yes.
And being okay with it.
Doubt, your own self, all of it.
So we were like, well, that didn't work out. So we kept blogging, we kept persisting, and then we were like, well, let's just go back to another conference. So we went again, heard a bunch of no's, but we met with one editor who was like, I really like this idea, because at the time it was a book about kindness, but we were talking about it more of being like a practical trade book. And she's like, I oversee the 365 devotionals. Do you think you could turn this into a devotional? And we were like, yes, we can, even though we'd never written a devotional.
We say yes to things that we have no idea how we're going to do it in the moment. We're like,
just say yes. That's the right answer.
The right answer is yes.
I think there are a lot of listeners right now that can relate to this saying yes, maybe a little too much.
Well, there's also that.
Sometimes
there's a balance.
Have to take a leap.
But when you're dreaming and somebody, I don't know, there is something about saying yes and then figuring it out as you go. There's a little bit of risk taking in that. And if we hadn't said yes, we wouldn't be
I
here.
agree. Someone once said to me, actually it was my business consultant yesterday. I just remembered. But someone said to me about this whole business journey that meant the most to me is they said, Lindsay, you are so brave. When you are putting one foot in front of the other up against so many odds and so many things, that's what saying yes was. That was your bravery step. Facing what was next. That's right. Phenomenal.
Well, and you probably feel this way too in what you're doing. We aren't probably the best writers out there. We're not. We know we're not. We're just persistent enough to keep going. That's part of it too, is to recognize that you can come into a space, even if you don't have all the answers, you don't know everything. Maybe you're not entirely the best at it. You don't have to be the best. You just have to be someone who's willing to just keep saying yes, keep pursuing it, keep going. And we knew a lot of writers who at the time were doing the same thing we were. And we feel like we just ended up
we were just still in the room.
On. Yeah.
We were just
when
still
other
in the
people
room.
didn't. And that's okay. Maybe they had other things that they
100%.
wanted to pursue. Totally fine. But sometimes you have to just be willing and confident to say, I'm going to keep pursuing this. I don't have to be the best. I just have to be confident and continue
persevere.
And writing for us is a very, very creative endeavor. And so it also is just something we love. So we just write. I mean, part of it, we had 500 blog posts by the time we...
Wow.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
But it was just sort of the love of writing and just doing it and just enjoying the creativity of it. So that's the beautiful thing, is if you can do something that you also just love, then just doing it for the sake of doing it is part of being deeply creative. And the older, we talk about this all the time, the older we get, we weren't in particularly creative industries necessarily, but man, we really are leaning into our creative selves now in this stage of our life. Like, creativity is so important.
I love that.
Do it bad. Like, make bad art.
Make bad. Do bad. Do good.
Do bad art. Like, it doesn't matter. Nobody has to see it, but just express creativity in whatever way. Like, kill a whole bunch of sourdough. I just asked Kendra, I need some more starter, please, because her husband's really, really good at it, and I kill it all the time. But I love it, and it's fun, and it's deeply creative.
People are like, what is sourdough?
Oh, who is asking what is sourdough at this
If you
point?
start sourdough, you're going down a rabbit hole, and then all of your social media algorithms are going to be weird.
She asked me for some more this morning, and my husband had already left for work. And so I called him and I was like, Julie wants a little starter. What do I do? And he started rattling off everything. And I was like, forget it. You can just get her some when you get home. I can't do it. It's too
the best
stressy.
conversation I've had yet. The funny thing about this is I love creativity. I love doing it in different actions. And I'm definitely, if you get me to slow down enough, I love cooking. But I got to tell you, a really great friend of mine does her own sourdough. And I was like, I have stopped myself from going down that rabbit hole more times than you know. And when you say who knows about if they don't know about all the sourdough craze, you are not on social media.
They're knitting.
Yeah, that's right. They're knitting or gardening.
Grandma hobbies are the thing.
They're coming back.
They are, and it's incredible. I want to do all the grandma hobbies. Well, if anybody's a knitter out there, I want to learn. That's my next thing.
You want to know what? That is something that I hold so true to my heart from my grandmother. She knit us each, our whole lives, blankets. And then whenever we would have babies, she'd have this beautiful, soft, either white, pink, or blue knit blanket. So I'm not going to get emotional. You guys know whenever I talk about this topic, it gets to my heart. Recently, she moved out of her home and we kind of were going through her things. And I was like, everyone's like, well, what, is there something special to you? What do you want? I was like, honestly, I want the reminder of our everyday, like her Rice Krispie bowl. Yes. I want the bowl or a spatula. Just those are the best memories. And then if she has any blankets, insert tears. I have 3 of them that I hopefully someday can give to my kiddos, littles. So I'm going to hold those in. Everybody's journey is going to be different. That is what it is. Little does she know, her knitting was something that carried on to every single one of us. And she still, talks about her knitting and what she has definitely been affected by dementia. And the last blanket she was working on, I was like, Grandma, I really would love this giant one on my bed. And she started it. And now it's gotten a little bit confusing. She would knit everywhere she went.
Sure. Yeah.
Every car ride, everything. So anyways, so when you say knitting, I have tried. She's tried to show me many times growing up. And unfortunately, I squirreled out because I would screw it up. And I would, in like 2 rows of knit, I would need her to fix it.
So maybe sourdough's for you then.
So I love creativity, but it's so cool honing in on what makes you happy, your values. So when you say creativity, that looks different for everybody, and that's okay. What matters is leaning into what you love and what makes you so happy.
100%.
Yeah.
So I love that with writing. That's really powerful. 500 blog posts is a lot. That is incredible. I would assume with blog posts, it's kind of as you feel ready to post. Did you have a schedule or anything, or did you just go for it? You did.
Yeah.
So what happens when you have writer's block? Do you have a creative block every once in a while? Because I have had that.
Yes.
And then what? How do you get through it with each other?
We usually get on a call and we'll brainstorm together. Usually helps each of us get out of it. Usually we're not all in it at the same time.
Which is wonderful to have a trio.
Yes.
Because when I'm really on the struggle bus, like they're not. And so they can be like, hey, Julie. And then we'll fix whatever's going on with me.
Yeah.
Or vice versa.
With you.
I mean, but we all have moments or seasons or
I love that
the other thing when I get writer's block, I walk away from it. So I put it all down and then I go for a walk or I go for a drive or I do something with my hands where my brain, and I don't put on music. I don't fill my brain. I just let it be silent around me. So I'll go garden or walk or drive or shower. And that usually, because my brain keeps working on it in the background. And so if I just give myself a little bit of time, that creativity is back there just doing its thing, and then it'll come back around. So you can't wait until the 11th hour to write your thing.
Yeah.
Because you gotta sometimes, you gotta give yourself a little margin so that your brain can process.
I love that when you talk about that process also of being kind of in a moment, you give yourself a little bit of grace too. So that is definitely profound. When you said season, you know, everybody goes through a season. Oh my goodness, you nailed that. I would love to just talk about that and hone in on the seasons of your journey, your life, your business, your leadership, your friendship. You know, the seasons are a thing. And hey, that could be a devotional.
Yeah, that's fun. Various books.
Yes. We're always looking for ideas. This is great.
Well,
Bingo.
that is the thing. I walk through life. One of the beautiful things is now I walk through life and I just look for stories everywhere. So it can be the tiniest moment, and that I'm like, oops, story.
Yeah.
Just because it doesn't have to be this giant thing. Oftentimes it's the little mundane, and you're like, oh, actually, that's
But
pretty
end up being
sacred
the
and
most
holy.
profound. Yeah.
Wow, that is powerful to everything in the busy chaos of life.
Yeah, sometimes it's the really little things or how people impact one another. We have lots of stories of just a tiny kindness that had an outsized impact on somebody else. So we're really careful about downplaying kindness now, because that tiny little thing that you do for somebody else, you have no idea how you're intersecting their life, which is incredibly powerful.
Yeah.
And should always be an encouragement. We should always, don't discount the tiny kindnesses. Do it. Send the text, send the email, tell that lady standing next to you in the line who's a complete stranger how cute her whatever is. You have no idea.
Right.
You're right. You are absolutely right.
Yeah.
Okay, so on that note, I'm going to tell the story of a moment where you guys impacted me so powerfully when you didn't even know it. So I was on a buying trip for market, and it was a time in business where it was like really 2024 brought some crazy things and, some roller coasters of emotions and whatnot, just understanding like a new economy and changing again and seeing what was going to happen. And I went to market, and things were a little bit slower at the boutique, as many businesses, went through. So I ended up going by myself to Dallas, I think it was, Texas. And I was scared out of my mind. I had the most anxiety I've ever had in my life put together. And because I wanted to make the right decisions, usually I go with someone or a team just to like make sure, like, if I cut costs, I'm going to do this. I'm going to be brave, lean into my connections of who I know there. So long story short, there were a few things during that I was so proud of myself for doing on my own. I had been on a market trip by myself before, but this was different for some reason. It was bigger. It was in a hotel I've never been to, just in a different area I didn't really know about. So I was like putting one foot in front of the other, and I was like, okay, I got this. Had 2 or 3 nights by myself in the hotel, just really reflecting, like, what do I want to do? Where am I going to go with this? Am I strong enough? So it was a really deep, I had a lot of tears by myself because I was just going through a moment. Like, you have to have grit. You have to have perseverance. It's not going to be perfect, and that's okay. I met with one of my favorite vendors. And it's cool because of my trips. I've actually made some really good friends. Well, they invited me to dinner. And I was like, okay, do you want to join our team? And I was like, I would love to. And then I was like, okay, Mom, I'm going to put my tracking on. Nowadays and age, you have to be careful about things. They're wonderful humans.
Yes.
I didn't know who was going to be there and yada, yada. So I ended up, my driver at the hotel, he was like, I'm actually going to I'll drop your stuff off and I will actually take you there. It was one thing that kept leading to another, that the universe was saying, like, keep going, Linz. So there was a moment there, and then I get there, there's 6 individuals from different countries that were telling me about their culture and their food, and it was so cool. By the time I had gotten there, they had everything ordered for me, laid out. They had drinks for me. They were asking what I like, telling me about their culture. And I was like, this is awesome.
Yeah.
Like, totally outside my comfort zone. They don't know it. This is what I needed. And then all of a sudden, we were talking about their lives and whatnot. And then I get a message from my mom. My mom goes, Lindsay, look at this. And I was like, what? And I mean, big capital letters. And I look, and it is the page in one of your devotionals that you wrote about me. And I'm sitting here, and these poor gentlemen don't really know English very well, and that's okay. But I'm starting to get tears down my face. And he goes, oh my gosh, Lindsay, are you okay? Are you okay? And I said, I'm okay. I'm okay. I'm like, look at this. Really incredible people from where I'm from wrote this. And they're like, well, he took it, he read it, and he goes, you? And I said, yes. And he goes, oh my God, do we need your autograph? It was so funny. And I was like, oh my goodness. He kept staring at me like, wow. I left that experience and I was like, there is a bigger something up there talking to me right now. And this is so meant to be. So I'm not going to get too choked up, but I was like, the timing, little did you know, was so powerful. So you're right. Those little moments mean a lot. And I think when you pursue your dream, those little things, you really don't take for granted. Or I hope you don't. Let's put it that way. I hope you don't. And there might be times where you have to remind yourself, like, chill out, be in the moment, you know, look at the little things. But the more and more I move into my dream, my bigger dream, my steps, the more I look at everything. That means so much. So
Thank you for sharing. That's awesome.
So you have wrote quite a few devotionals, and it's been about kindness, about motherhood, about friendship, gratitude. Is there anything like on your heart that you love the most to write about? Do you have a favorite topic?
It's like asking if we have a favorite child. I love it all. You know what I think I love that is a theme through everything, and it's what you're saying just in that last example. It's like the connections you can make with other people and the ways that you can have an impact on other people's lives and allow them to impact your life, I think is one of my favorite things about writing. Is just those connections that can be made. So it's not even a specific topic. It's when someone comes up to you and says, like, this really meant a lot to me. Or people may not realize, like, we write the stories, but a lot of these stories are other people's that we've gathered. They're not just our own. Yeah. And so being able to, like, uplift other women and other people around us and share their stories too as an encouragement is like what we get really passionate about.
I agree. I think if there was like a theme running through everything, it would be encouraging. I mean, we want to be encouraging to people around us, to people coming just a step behind us. Several years ago, we were sort of looking around and we were like, where are the mentors? Like, where are the women one step ahead of us? We really couldn't find them. We went on a journey and we found some. That also then sort of sealed the deal for us. Like, I always want to be reaching behind me and grabbing, especially women that are one step or more, and pulling them along and saying, come with me, let's go do this thing.
Yes.
And empowering and encouraging and equipping. So no matter what we're writing, it's always like this encouragement. I want you to be better. I want you to be a better version of you.
Is there any moment in one of these devotionals or a page or a moment that really still hits you harder? Like, so, even though you love them all.
Yeah. There was, so this one came out of kindness. So this was our first 365 that we wrote, but I was thinking about this on the way out. So my mom would always make this strawberry jello for like every holiday. It became like our family favorite. And when we were writing that book and we were collecting stories, and she had never told us this prior to that. So she's like, well, I have a good story for you. So she said that recipe came from a woman who gave it to her when my mom was a teenager. So my mom's mom, my grandmother, passed away when my mom was a teenager. She was the youngest in her family. Her dad was a traveling salesman, so she was home a lot by herself. And she was part of like the Lutheran girls, Lutheran League at the time. And they had to bring a recipe, something from home. Each of the girls did. And my mom told her good friend, I don't know what I should bring. Her mom had passed away. She's like, I don't know what I should do. That girl went home and told her mom. And that mom hand wrote out several recipes for my mom.
Oh, my goodness.
And gave them to her. But what that woman could have not known was that my mom pulls out this recipe 50 years later.
Wow.
And it's become a family favorite of ours. My mom she still gets emotional thinking about it because here's this woman who met a need for my mom at a time when she felt very vulnerable and would have no idea that 50 years later, my mom would not only still make that recipe, but have that recipe and that it would be like one of our family favorites. For me, that is a reminder that like when you take time in small ways throughout your day to show kindness towards somebody else, you have no idea the impact that can have. And oftentimes we want to look at our lives, and it's great to do big things. It's great to do big events.
Yeah.
Like, those matter for sure. We miss out if we don't think in our day-to-day lives that we can have an impact every day on the people around us.
Right. And you don't have to go anywhere special. Like that's one of the things we talk about. And one of my favorite stories is Kendra wrote about when she would go to the grocery store.
Yeah.
She would strike up conversations with the ladies behind the cash register. And she because she had
I had little kids. Like, who am I going to talk to?
And she was doing foster care, so she had lots of little kids.
I did.
And it was busy and tired. And it literally can be striking up a small conversation in the places and spaces you already are. So there's not this grand, you don't have to travel halfway across the world. You don't have to have hundreds of dollars. It's like literally little things.
Yeah. I tell everybody about growing up with my mom being this enthusiast when we'd go to a gas station and I'd follow her and we'd get, like a water and a donut on a basketball trip or whatnot. And she would be like, okay, great. Thanks. Have a nice day. Or I hope you have a wonderful day. Just very enthusiastic. And sometimes she'd be like, someone would say, how's your day today? And she'd be like, go on, like, how's your day? And ask them and go into it. And I would walk to the car and I'm like, wow, Mom, that was a lot. And now I realize the impact that could have been on anyone. And you have no idea. So that does matter. There's one person that I think about that worked in the gas station next to the White Peony shed. She would be spunky, and when I come in, she's like, oh, now what's White Peony up to? Let me guess, you haven't slept. She was so good. And we would just joke around. And, I just knew her because she was there all the time. And then I noticed that her hair, she no longer had hair. And being on the board of directors for Indy, and I thought, I need to get to the bottom of this. And the conversation, just there wasn't a right time. I didn't feel. And, we would talk and joke around, and then she wasn't there for a very long period of time. And I was like, I need to figure out, who do I ask? They went through, an employee change, so I didn't know anybody that would know. I wasn't sure. So how are you just going to say, hey, I need to ask questions about her, what I should have? She ended up recently, I found that she was connected to way more people than I thought, and she passed away from cancer. And I actually cried. Because she was somebody, I had no clue who this stranger was, for the longest time. And she impacted me every morning. When she would make jokes, she'd be like, now what? Well, what's White Peony up to? Or what's your next big event? She totally, if I was a little bit tired, she would wake me up and change my whole day. And that person that I didn't even know her name, I did, but I didn't know her on a personal level. I will never forget her.
Yeah.
I'm hard on myself because I wish I would have dug deeper into how I could be a part of helping. That's a tricky conversation. Yeah. I'm definitely giving myself a little grace, but that was a hard one to swallow when I saw her story unfold. But you just never know.
No, you don't. Well, and I want to speak to that for just a second, because we've had those moments as well where it's like, oh, I missed it. I missed the opportunity. And then you start to kind of spiral, or you start to be filled with regrets. And we've learned to just, I'll just pray and say, I want a second chance.
Yeah.
I need a second go at this. I completely missed that opportunity, and I need to have a chance to do this again. Sure. And it's amazing. Not always the same precisely, but sometimes the same.
Yeah.
And we do get second chances. Just because you missed one doesn't mean, that just means we ask for a second chance and then our eyes are open and we jump on it next time.
Well, that in particular situation hit me so hard, so left field, that I took that and I was like, let this be a lesson of legacy that I want other people to feel when I'm not in the room.
Right.
And I could talk about legacy for a very long time, but how neat. I'm going to use that strawberry jello story because that hits me beyond, because she never knew how long that was going to last.
No.
Pretty awesome. One thing we were kind of joking about today when you guys came in. So originally, your trio and your name and on, the books, your devotionals that you have thus far, you were the Ruth Experience.
Yes.
You have recently changed and rebranded to One Story Well Collective.
Yes.
And I would love to know the background behind that.
Well,
I love how you turn and look at each
know.
other like, who's going to do
Where
it?
do we start? So we loved being the Ruth Experience, but that name really came from our first book. That was the title of our first book. And at the time we couldn't think of anything else. And so we're like, well, so then, years go by, you just stick with the same thing. And then our agent had been saying to us, maybe we want to come up with something that's a little bit more descriptive of who you actually are and what you're trying to do. And so we were able to meet with her earlier this summer and kind of brainstorm some of that. And that's really where this idea of the One Story Well Collective came out of, because there's a lot of different parts you can pick out from that idea of one story well. So it's that I want to live my one story well. I want to help other people live intentionally their one story well. And then also when you think about the greater scheme of the world and how, God has a greater story of love and redemption going on. And we are all a part of that greater big one story as well. And so even though we write about specific people's stories in our books, it all really is like all in the same theme or the same stream of like living your one story well.
Okay, I love that.
Yeah.
So I'm going to take it one step further. What does it mean to live your story well? Give me a definition. You're on the hot seat.
Oh gosh. Right.
I feel like it's very broad, but that's okay.
It is, and that's okay. And it's going to look different in different seasons because you're just going to have whatever's in front of you. I think it's about living intentionally. So it is okay to sometimes get kind of blown around a little bit like a piece of dandelion fluff. I mean,
there's a good way of putting it.
There's nothing wrong with that, especially in some seasons like new motherhood and a few other seasons where it's like I am in survival mode and don't know which way I'm headed, or new adulthood and everybody's asking you what you're going to do and you're like, I literally have no idea what I'm about to do. The wind will blow me somewhere and then I'll figure it out. But there is something really beautiful about living with intentionality and having a guiding North Star of some kind. And I am not about to tell people what their guiding North Star needs to be, but I can share what mine is. Sure. And that is to love God and love others very imperfectly. I'm not every day I'm like, whoa, that did not exactly involve loving others well, Julie. We're going to try that again in the morning. Yeah. But even very, very imperfectly, when I am weighing everything that comes in front of me with that as my North Star, I make decisions and then my life just sort of aligns. So professionally it aligns, personally it aligns, and I think that is a way you can build a legacy that then has these common threads that run through it, even very imperfecely. So and my children are really good at pointing out when I've not, I'm like, Mom. And I'm like, okay, reel it in, Julie. But I think that having some intentionality and whatever that North Star is, and I think it can modify as you grow too.
I love that. Yeah. I absolutely love that. When you talk about your kiddos, I always say to my youngest, I was like, you were put on this earth to slow me down and make me live with more intent, like make me focus a little bit further.
Yeah.
And refine us. Yeah. I mean, motherhood has refined me.
Yes.
In ways that I didn't necessarily know I needed to be refined.
Oh, I love it. Okay, so now bigger scale. What's currently on your heart? Whether it's personally, creatively, Here we go again. Okay, I'm going to say this. When you get too close words this morning, is metabolic and metabolism.
Oh, yes.
And then I started dyslexiaing words. I didn't think that was a problem for me, but wow.
I like to make words up. So if you just want to coin a new phrase, Lindsay, I will stand behind it. I'll use it.
What did I say? Caffeine.
Yeah, that's right.
Let's put it in the Webster's dictionary.
Something.
I think you just need 70 uses, and then you can submit it to Webster's. I think so. Also, Webster's is a hilarious Instagram. So if you're kind of nerdy and like words, the Webster's is a great account. I learn new things.
An uplifting thing.
It is fun, and then you learn new things. I'm always sending it to Kendra and Kristen and being like, "Hey, look at this," and they're like, "Nerd."
Okay.
Random words.
I will have my mom loves to hone in on a word every once in a while. They're like, did you make that up?
Yeah.
Did you?
No one knows. No one knows. It's a word now.
Say it with confidence
70
and no
times.
one will know.
That's right.
Especially now with all the slang.
No,
Oh,
exactly. I know.
I know.
I'm not even going to go there.
No, I
Well, on the way to softball practice with the kids in the back, I was like, wait, how did that fit into that sentence? And
What are you saying?
I started using slang on my kids. Oh, that was hilarious. Like when you use like skibbity toilet on your middle schooler, the horror on their faces and their friends' faces, it was amazing. I just would whip them out in like all in a row too. And my son and his friends were just
so good.
horrified. It was
We have some very good stories about trying to use slang, like the new hip slang here. And we have had many laughs. Tara, if you're listening, she went around and tried to use all of these phrases. It was so funny.
That would be a funny reel for you guys to
Oh,
make. Seriously.
I think we had one time, actually.
Did you? That would be hilarious.
but the middle school slang. I mean, that's the best. Like
don't
it's
even know
so
where this word
strange.
came
And then you hear them like talking, because these are what, 10 and 11, 12-year-olds. And I have giggles a lot. 'Cause how one person said it was not the same. Yeah.
That's the other thing. Yeah.
So what's currently on your heart, personally or creatively?
Well, a few things. I mean, I think personally, Julie and I are both in the stage of kids as teenagers, and we have each of us have us going into our senior year, and so
Same.
yeah. So just thinking about, I
So
know
awesome. And
Yes.
so
is
We
sad.
have cried so much
already.
already.
I will
haven't
just
yet, but it's
someone
coming.
told me who's already been through this.
Yep.
Allow yourself to feel it and to cry when you want to.
Yep.
I love that.
Because
Don't stuff it.
don't stuff it.
Just feel it.
Just feel it.
And like lean into
That's
it.
the best advice.
I cry all the time in like
Podcast.
weird random times. I get all, and then I get choked up, and then Lizzie's like, "What?"
is
And I'm
wrong
like,
with you?
"Just a moment, just."
And they're
walk
just
out
like,
of the
we
room.
can't wait to get over here. No.
Oh,
Some days,
there goes
some
mom
days.
again.
Okay, next podcast, not the next one, but the next one, us three meet, is going to be mid-year.
Yeah.
Talking about seniors and retires and how fast it goes.
awesome.
My theory is that once they turn about 10, there's a fast forward button.
Yes.
It's, I don't know, there's something leading, I was telling my friends, there's leading up to 10. At 10, you hit that button and then you blink.
fast.
They are literally driving and blink and we're here.
Yeah.
And then you go through all the emotions like, did I slow down enough? Did I take in those moments enough? Did I? And then I caught myself 2 days ago going through little pictures in my memories. Because, I'm going to have to put those picture boards together in the videos. And I already got choked up. I haven't let myself release it. And you're right. I got to let that go.
Just cry
okay. So that's a season.
in the middle of everything. Just
Yeah.
the glitter. Just let her out. I'm gonna get like a sign.
Let it off.
Mom of a senior, don't mind me. Just
You need like a necklace that you can flip it. Like, just walk away. It's like going through a moment.
I am fine. Just let me be doing this in the middle of the grocery store as I like look at the cereal that my kid used to eat all the time.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going through this together. I love that.
Let's do it together.
That isn't the epitome of this podcast episode.
Yeah.
We're in this together.
That's right.
We
We are. We are in here together. Absolutely.
Awesome.
And then I think professionally, we have some more things kind of in the works. We have last fall, we had our Advent devotional come out.
Yes.
And now this January, we have a Lent devotional coming out, which is something very different.
We
and new
cry
for
when we
us.
reread it too.
Really?
Yes. Oh, there's gonna be an audiobook. Are we allowed to say
Oh, there
that?
is. Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Why not?
Well,
Abby,
we
don't
just
cut
said
that.
it. Welcome to the world. I just let that out if I wasn't supposed to. But there's going to be an audiobook and we are the ones recording it. And I get really weepy over this particular book, like we all do. And so I was like,
I don't know how I'm going to make it.
I don't know how I'm going to do that.
But that
I'm going to read
means
that thing out
that
loud.
It really.
There's some deep
that's
stuff in
great.
there.
Yeah.
I mean, Lent is not for the faint of heart. Like, let's just be for real.
Yep.
But yeah, not for the faint of heart.
So we've got that, and then we also are just working on some more ideas for more devotionals. So we plan to keep writing. We've got a lot of stuff.
That's incredible. I honestly am voting for the seasons of life. Like,
That's a really
That is a
good.
good
That would be
one.
a great topic.
be like for me, when you say like you're going through a season or I'm going through a season, it kind of like releases pressure.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And being okay with that it's giving yourself grace. So everybody, if you're listening, thank you. Or you're welcome. Actually,
That's right.
I'm just kidding. Okay, so you've got a few things in the works, so that's really awesome. Is there anything in particular as far as like themes that you feel called to pursue, or not really?
I think right now, and I don't even know what that would even look but because we do have young adults in our homes, I teach young adults, you guys coach young adults. Like there is right now just this immense love for that age. Yeah. I have no idea what that looks like or how that plays out, but we have a deep tenderness for young adulthood. And I'll laugh and tell my husband, like, none of these young adults out at college belong to me, but they do belong to me. And I'm really invested. I just want what's best for them. So like I teach them, you guys coach them, but it goes much further than that. It's like this investment. I'm going to cheerlead you wildly. I'm going to jokingly hold you accountable when you're being a little bit of a nonsense person. Which is so natural. That is just kind of part of growing up and developing. And I am wildly for them. And so there is a little bit of this heartbeat.
I love that. Yeah. And actually, I have been connected to a few that have had the honor of your mentorship, and they love you.
Well, I love them. I mean, I know that sounds really weird.
No, but they say the same thing. They're like, she believes in me. And I was like, you do not get that very often. And that as a parent and as a young adult is what you would pray for.
Yes.
Yeah, so that's
100%.
incredible.
I just will say that I have so much, I get to hang out with young adults all school year. And I have so much hope for this next generation. People love to kind of like crab at the young generation or whatever. And if they come around me with that, I'm like, that is not at all the truth of it. Young people is where it's at. I have just this immense hope for us.
So we do have a writing project that could potentially be towards younger people. We're very excited.
Okay, we're going to do a fun lightning round.
Okay.
I'm going to hide these.
Don't cheat. No, don't.
No.
I leaned over. I should have just moved with my eyes.
Sneaky. Lightning round, fun, just whatever comes to mind for each of you. What's one word that's speaking to you right now?
Community.
Hold
on.
Can you take out that weird?
No, leave it. It's going to be like the stuff on your microphone.
Oh, yeah.
I love that.
It was more like a grunt. It was like a grumpy grunt.
Spell that, please.
I would say
one word.
Agape, which is a definition of love, but it's not romantic love.
Oh.
Loving others well.
Okay. I love that.
That was three words.
Okay.
Well, I will break the rules.
The definition. Okay.
Well, I said one word. I then just defined it for her. So technically.
Okay.
Oh, I love it. Okay, quick. Favorite writing ritual or space?
Coffee.
My front porch.
Love that. A devotional theme you haven't written about yet, but want to. We kind of talked about this a little bit, but it's just something.
Yeah.
I mean, something that resonates, something that is more directed to changes in life.
Yeah. This is kind of a funny one. I'm going to take this and word it differently. What is your favorite beverage while writing? Coffee, water, tea?
Coffee.
Can I have an IV of coffee, please? Just straight line it.
Right.
Well, based on today, apparently you can have too much coffee and then you turn. That's when it triggers my new
Coffee
word.
dyslexia.
Yeah. So for both of you, what would you say to the women who feel like their story doesn't matter?
It does. It absolutely matters. And somebody needs to hear it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I would also say it's okay to share from the middle of the journey. You don't always have to be on the other side of it and have been wildly successful. Sometimes sharing from the middle of the place is, I know it requires vulnerability, but it's deeply powerful to say, I'm still figuring it out. I'm still in this place. But also, this is what it looks like.
It matters. I mean, you wouldn't be here if it didn't. Right?
Correct.
As long as you still have breath. What you're living now, what you have lived, it matters. And if you are connecting with other people, even in small ways, every day, that matters. And so your life does matter.
I would also say when things are really, really hard, help somebody else. It sounds counterintuitive, but when things are really rough in my world, me doing even something simple for somebody else pulls me out of that in a way that nothing else does. So when life just is hard, help somebody else.
I think that is powerful, and we could talk about that for a very long time. Very wonderful. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you for having us, Lindsay. And thank you for being you are a community builder in ways that is rare. I just want you to know that. And you're incredible.
There's a few times on this I feel a powerful sense of this was meant to be. And so it gets me a little emotional because this is the journey that we're on. Actually, little did I know, I'm not writing devotionals, but we're about on the same journey.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we have seniors. Oh, okay. So the emotions I'm kind of hit with some strong emotions here, but all for very, very powerful and good reasons. So thank you for being here.
Thank you, Brian.
Thank you.
I love it.
Thank you for listening. If you found this information helpful, please share it with a friend. If you're looking for more information on the topics we covered, please head to the show notes below. And if you wouldn't mind leaving a 5-star rating and review, this would help this mission and our journey to get started. Let's make today and every day an opportunity to level up. Until next time, keep dreaming, keep striving, and keep making a difference.